Theresa here from theresamonro.com, and I'm excited to get to connect with you. I burned some incense for this month, so welcome to your energy update for the month of March. Some of this I've noticed has started to shift as early as the last week in February. So yeah, for those of you that are new to my channel, what I basically do here is I tell you about the energies that are coming into the planet, and then I teach you about ways to use them creatively to create the reality that it is that you want. Because no matter what these energies are, they're not forcing you into any particular situation. It's more about how it is that you're going to decide to react. So anyway, I'm putting some incense over here. Yay! So thank you for joining. I'm excited that you are here. And for those of you, this is the second when it's going up. Thanks for the patience for those of you that have waited patiently for the past couple days for this to come out. Sometimes there's sometimes there's a little bit of pressure that I can feel in the collective around like the last 2 days of the month. So sometimes the second makes it a little bit easier to film for you guys. So thanks for being here. If you're new, welcome. For those of you returning, welcome back. I'm excited to be able to share this month's energies with you. Stay tuned for the end because we're going to be doing the cards for each sign from the Keepers of the Light deck from Kyle Gray. We're going to touch base on which beings of light and what rays of light are with you, supporting you for the next 30 days. So yeah, I'm excited about doing something a little bit different with that. But yeah, I could feel some of you checking in about this month's assistance and how to best use these energies. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve you in this way. It is nice to be able to connect with you through video. Yeah, so it's fun because there's some of you are present currently, even though you're watching this in the future. So for March, now I know for some of you February was a little bit of a rough month, but what I will say for you is that energetically it was quiet. It was still like a lake because we didn't have any full moons in it. The new moons tend to be a lot quieter than the full moons in terms of energetically. And this particular full moon, I personally really have gotten to enjoy because, the patterns here are coming up in terms of things that were shifting with the full moon around the 1st of March. And some of you may have been feeling that a week early. Some of you like a week past, or it could be 2 weeks. It depends on when the shifts start, coming up, and you can really feel that. The more that you can really like get into a place of acceptance with what's shifting, the easier these shifts are going to continue to be for you. And there are ways for me to be able to energetically support you if that's something that you're interested in terms of, healing and the rays of light and things like that. For some of you, it's been endings around lies and confusion, or people that have been teeter-tottering a little bit, some associations ending, old patterns ending. So what's happened is, for those of you through the eclipse where you've had, for those of you that didn't know that there were a couple of eclipses that just concluded, some of you have had old patterns in thinking, and so if you've gone from being more competition mindset or letting go of certain levels of that and moving into a place of more collaboration, you're going to see things. Some of you may have been ready for this as much as a month ago, where you're seeing old relations, business, personal, and that sort of thing shifting out of the way, where there was like a little bit of friction, or there became more they're saying frictious, but I don't know if that's a word, which is why I'm hesitating. But, you may have seen, may have had a warning, it's not necessary to go, continue this relationship over the next month or of February, and stating, I think I kind of know that it's time we're shifting into something different. And it's because you may have gone from extreme competition to you being ready for a collaboration, but kind of a little bit still competitive, and now into more a collaborative space. So, and that's in your personal relationships too. If you've got any level of friction there around doing your personal growth versus somebody else's personal growth. And what I'm really seeing is, it's been going on for the planet for a while now, around pockets of collaboration, and people who are wanting to keep a competition mindset are attracting other people that want to keep a competition mindset. People who want to unify are unifying in the areas where they want to unify, and it's just a difference in flow, and people are, you know, shifting at the rate that's right for them at that given point in time. So you'll see people gathering around, okay, this is what it is we want to shift. This is where we want to unify. This is where we're going to experience, some people want to experience division. It's all based upon your thoughts and where it is you want to go, because you have the power to decide where that is and how quickly that shifts. And there's no need to have fear around that. It's all about, okay, well, this is just what I'm going to decide. You get to just determine the pace of how quickly, because I sometimes see people going, you know, full speed ahead, but it's at a rate that's physically uncomfortable for their body. So I just want to say, you know, it's okay to calm down and take some deep breaths, because that is something ironically that they're mentioning that's important for some of you to take a time out and just breathe. So March, for some of you, if it's been overly active or it's put you through the ringer, straight up through, like right now, like relationships ending, people moving over the past week, March will be a time where it's more peaceful for you and more quiet. If it's been active in your household, if you've had overactive relationships in terms of arguing, that sort of thing is going to calm down, because they've either shifted out of your life or they're internally shifting for the both of you to be able to be more copacetic. So that's sort of what they're stating right now. People have, because as a form of balance, people have either moved out, you know, because one's shifting and the other isn't, or people are shifting at the same rate. Now, I'm also seeing that there's a couple of people that have made a cognitive choice to separate because they think that they have to grow on their own. I will tell you that I don't necessarily believe that. I'm just going to put that out there, because I think that there's some that have said, particularly some of the more feminine, have decided I'm hearing a couple of different situations. Some of you may relate to this, that have said, oh, well, this person over here isn't growing, so I'm going to go over here, instead of seeing it as an internal growth thing. Some people wanting to grow on their own. So there's some of that, but that's a different kind of dynamic. That's a little bit, it's not necessary for some to grow separately, and they want to state that for you. So for some of you that have been slightly abandoned in that way, you know, thank you for being respectful of the choice that certain people make in terms of how they grow and where they grow, and that sort of thing. Big thing here around achieving balance through acceptance. They give me two big words about March: acceptance and balance, and also breathing, but having breathing room. But I didn't see how balance and acceptance were exactly related until I got on here to film, and they're like, you're going to achieve balance through acceptance. So acceptance of certain people's behavior. And so some people will have a pattern of trying to change another person so that they can achieve balance. But really, if you can sit back and just decide, okay, this is what I want to experience, this is how I want to feel, these are the kinds of people I want to have around me, everything else will naturally shift on its own as long as you stay in acceptance. So some of you may say, oh, you may try to hang on to something and say, oh, but this isn't, you know, I don't have this over here that I want. But sometimes it's about, well, you've got to let this shift so that you can have that, if that makes sense. So there's a certain level of trust and acceptance that people have come into, and bravo to you for those of you that are just able to breathe, get into a place of acceptance and finding balance in this way, of the people that are shifting in and out, the way money's shifting in and out, the way my overgivers, by the way, also sometimes are like overspenders. So some of you, that's going to be balancing out. Some of you have a large amount of money coming in, and for the overgivers, for some of the takers, you're going to need to watch your spending. But yeah, that's kind of more or less how that is working. And but it's a good time to be having ends to the lies and confusion. If you've had people that you've been working around where you're not feeling wholeheartedly like supported or not enjoying the interaction, those people I feel like have just been cut out of your life or will be by the 4th, they're stating. And some of you are going, but I don't know how comfortable I feel with completely ending the ties. That's okay. You can take your time with that. But I am seeing that certain people have made physical moves. And this is because as we're shifting more in as a collective into more unity consciousness, which is a 12th ray trait, the rainbow ray trait, you're seeing big relationship shifts. You're starting to see people come together that are more and this is on all levels of groups of people coming together that are gathering on the planet. And some of you may be seeing that, have been seeing for some time, where groups, well, this is something smaller. You're going to see it on a much larger scale in the future, where some of these smaller groups are going to be coming together, where there's like thousands of groups, and some of that happens on a small level for 1 or 2 days. But I just want to give some of you hope that have been looking for more unity type of consciousness. It is here. Some of you are finding more friends that where you're like, wow, I didn't know. I knew people like you existed, but I didn't ever experience that in the physical. Like more people that are experiencing the rays of light or creative chelantic science type knowledge. I may have more labels. They have more, experience, like that sort of thing, personally. So if you've been looking for finding your tribe, it's happening right now. And it's going to happen continuously more over the next month or so. For some of you where you've had more action, you're going to see where in certain areas where you've had too much action, that's going to start to subside in those areas. And areas that have been quiet are going to be more active. So if you've had, for some of you, they want to talk about your businesses or where you're making money. If it's been slow for some of you with money, you're going to be making more money. If some of you, I feel like some of this has already been said, but they want to repeat this sometimes so that you'll be like, yeah, you really did hear what you thought you were going to hear. For some of you, if it's been like physically active, doing things, you may take a little bit more of a time out and balance that out and have a little bit more still time if you're somebody who's more physically active. So in the areas of your life that have been active or possibly too active, even emotionally, you're going to see that. You're going to see that shift and balance out, and they're reminding you to breathe, because you can, if you have those moments where either the shifting or there's too much action is happening, remembering to take a deep breath and just sitting for a moment and going, okay, right now, I'm okay. I have control over my situation by determining how I breathe. And choosing how you breathe and taking deep breaths is going to recenter you, as silly as that may sound, where they're stating it's just in through the nose. You can hold it for a second and then exhale through the mouth. And doing that a couple of times is going to recenter for you. It'll find it where if your energy is like way up here, you'll be able to move your energy further down by breathing, and you'll be like, okay, it's easier to be in the body right now. They also want to say, for some of you that where your relationships have been quiet and you're meeting up more with people, there are some of you that have some fears and some sadness still. Now, a lot of you have really released quite a lot of that, but and congratulations to you, that's going to continue. You don't have to be perfect for some of these relationships to come in with some of these friends or romantic relationships or business partnerships, and on all levels within your family, with your children. You're going to see a lot of this shifting in a really wonderful way for you. And I lost my thought on that, so I guess it's enough that I need to say on, I guess it's all I needed to say on that. But, oh yeah, as you've released some of the sadness and fears, you have these new people coming in, and you'll be able to continue to release some of that. And some of you may feel a little bit apprehensive in the beginning, and they want to say that's okay, because these relationships are more nurturing that are coming in now. And it's sort of like they're showing me roses, and when you water them, the buds have the ability to blossom, and you're going to be blossoming more when you're allowing more of these blossoming friendships and supportive friendships to come in. It'll be, you know, it's okay to close the door on relationships, even if people show up for a week to be beneficial, but then you realize quickly, okay, if there's any level of discomfort in the relationship, it's okay to say, like, I don't really want to engage with that. Because the more you say no to what you don't want and you say yes to what you do, and there is an ability to say it with kindness, and the more you do that, the easier it's going to be, the easier the shift will be, and the more you'll be manifesting what you want on a consistent basis. Because sometimes if you're stating, and it takes a certain amount of bravery to say, like, you know, searching for houses right now and having a couple of opportunities and going, that's just not right for me, and trusting the fact that something better is coming in, and it is. I can feel it because I've said no to things that weren't working, and saying yes to the things that are, and it offers, you know, more space, and it's more for things that are more in alignment in terms of things that you really want, because it's super simple too, some of this manifestation stuff, where you can just see a relationship or walk into a space and say, wow, I want my house to feel like this. And that is a signal to the universe. It's just a heart-opening act. The universe hears you. Manifestation can be just that simple. It doesn't have to be a big, huge mental, active process. It can be. There are some steps, I think, sometimes with the thinking that it helps to shift that out. But yeah, just I thought I would share that with you. It can be that simple. Like if you see a relationship where somebody has qualities, where you see like old people holding hands and you're like, wow, yeah, I welcome that. I would like to know what it feels like to have somebody, you know, to be in a romantic relationship with somebody who holds my hand like that. Or for your current partner to have that. You know, these are the sorts of things when you see things and you can sit for a moment, there's two ways you can go. You can go, well, I mean, there's multiple ways, but two main ways, where you can be in grief because you don't have it, or you can say, wow, okay, I want that. And it's okay if you have grief afterwards. There's ways to process that. And again, they're talking about being in acceptance about if you go into grief about that, because if you sit with the grief and say, oh wow, okay, yeah, I was feeling grief about that. All right, guess I'm feeling grievous today. If you can sit with it for a second, it just wants your attention. And when you do that, the sooner it shifts. Because there was a moment last week where I had some anger coming up, and I was on my way to a meeting, and I didn't want to be feeling angry. And then I just said, you know what? Fine. If I'm going to be angry, I'm going to be an angry person, and that's if I'm just angry in the moment. And then boom, it shifted. But I was not wanting to feel that way because I didn't want somebody else to pick that up in my fields. And then I just said, well, everything's perfect as it is. And then it you know, it just shifted. So it's a quick way to be able to move the emotions out. I can tell you this too, because a lot of times if you're like retelling stories about something, that's because there's some emotion that's wanting your attention. So you know, instead of retelling the story, which is kind of manifesting it, if it's a story that doesn't feel good, try sitting with the emotion. Name it if you want to, or just say, okay, I guess I'm feeling this way. You don't have to put a name on it. And then the moment you're accepting of it, it'll shift out. And sometimes it's a couple hours, sometimes it's a couple minutes, but that's totally up to you. But it's exciting to see things coming in a balance by accepting things as they are. People's personality traits, things that are happening in your situation, and go, okay, this may be uncomfortable in the moment. A lot of this was kind of February, but still coming into now, in terms of some of you were beginning to work with this in February, but it's kind of more of a focus right now, where you sit back and say, okay, that's that person's personality trait. I see that, and instead of getting them to shift or to change so that you feel more comfortable, some of you have just decided, okay, that's how they are, and if they don't want to shift, I'm just gonna be over here because I want to have an experience with this particular personality trait. Sort of like if there's healers that, you know, I don't know quite how to word this, but if you've got healers that cause trauma, in the session, and it's not feeling copacetic, versus saying, okay, I'm going to say hi to this relationship over here with this particular healer where it's feeling more in alignment and it's calming and it's compassionate. So just a experience, just saying some of you are experiencing that and saying, yeah, this is in alignment with where I want to go, because there are shifts that are going to be happening big time on the planet in terms of why you're seeing like an uprise in the law of attraction and manifestation, is because that's the newest form of healing. And Saint Germain talks a lot about this. He's talked since 2014 about focus for a large part of the collective, in terms of, do you want to focus on what you don't want? Do you want to focus on what you do? Do you want to focus on the trolls? Do you want to focus on what feels good? And the more you focus on what feels good, you start to notice that the trolls kind of fall away. But there's, you know, all kinds of stuff that goes into play there. So, but yeah, they want to remind you that you have the power to shift anything in your life that you would like to have be better. It also helps to ask for support. So asking people, hey, would you think some positive thoughts for me, and putting that out there, because I've seen that that helps shift things really quickly too, even if you have a day where you feel like you can't. That's a really good moment to call in support and say, okay, I'm going to ask you to think some positive thoughts with me today. So when that happens, Metatron comes forward. If there's more than one light worker together, he's always present. And he's able to be in, they multi-locate or bilocate, but it's really, I don't know, they locate he locates with everybody where there's like multiple light workers coming together. Interesting story on that I may tell you someday, about how he proved that to me. I always cognitively understood it, but I'll explain that story at another time when we have more time. So yeah, but it's really beautiful to watch some of these. There's a lot of soul connections happening right now for some of you, having that in a love-based connection. So, and you can trust it, and it's okay to take your time with it. Some of this is, you know, new friendships and things. So yeah, balance within relationships. Also, the eclipses were covering a lot between the balance of the masculine and feminine. So for some of you that may have blocked out the feminine or blocked out the masculine, there was a lot of balancing happening there, and it felt pretty good to watch some of you really shift through that. So for some of you where you've experienced a lot of extremes in relationships, that even since January has started to begin to shift out of the extremes and into more grounded, more where you find more middle grounds. But right now you're going to be experiencing a little bit more of that. They also want me to mention, if some of you see some patterns coming back, there's healing, particularly karmically, can be healed in layers. So yeah, interesting. They want me to mention two things here. So one is, if it's coming back, there's a new way to approach it, and it's sort of like a visitor stating, hey, you've got a gorgeous house in Hawaii, can we come stay with you? And you can either say yes, you can stay in the back bedroom, or put them in a hotel, and you just decide how close you want that new pattern and how you want to relate to it to come in. The other thing is, I have a one-on-one healing session if you're interested in working with the violet flame for karmic clearing. If there's some of that stuff that you want to shift out. I've seen stuff shift as soon as a day. So, but it comes in layers. Depends on how much you're able to let the situation go. And you can tell based on like how much you have cleared it, based on when you think of it and how much like anger you've got towards it, or, you know, like emotions that you've got towards it. So, but yeah. More gathering of light minds is happening, which is really exciting to see. Lots of you have been doing the work around your thoughts and thinking about people. So if some of you have thought kind of negative thoughts about people a lot, you'll see some relationships that you haven't really enjoyed. But some of you, there's been a transition over the last like 6 months about your thinking, and some of that continues. So you see the people showing up in your life being different, and more people that you actually like. So again, around more acceptance, and the more accepting you are of yourself and of others, the more you're going to see balance in your life and in terms of your thoughts as well. So, but that's super cool to see that. But yeah, for some of you, if you feel like it's a slower time to recharge and breathe, I think it's a good time to do that for at least the first 2 weeks of March. or possibly start to see a slowdown in certain areas. So, but some of you have been needing that. For some of you going, oh, but what if that's my finances? I think because some of you, if you've been really active in your business and creating things, it's an okay time to sit back and just watch the things that you've created sell. But for some of you that have just been go, go, go with, you know, promoting and marketing and things like that, or performing in your job, you get a little bit of a break. It's a good time for some of you that have been overactive to be able to take a breather and have a little bit of a vacation in that way. So over the past year, and you may be just seeing some of this now, the more you're trusting and flowing, it's related to acceptance. So some of you are seeing and experiencing more trust and flow. For those of you who aren't, that's a recommendation to do so. Really, acceptance is just a decision away to say, okay, this is how I want. Okay, that's just kind of the way that it is. It's just a decision. It isn't, oh, I have to do all this acceptance work. You can. There are acceptance, like mantras that you can use. But, you know, you can easily Google acceptance mantras or, you know, things like that. But the more you're in acceptance, the more you're going to see things, you know, really flowing. Even, I mean, I've said, even here, like in the house where I'm at, where there's like door slamming, the more I just laugh and just accept it, it doesn't bother me as much. And then I'm just like, okay, cool. Universe, next place I'm in, make sure there's no door slamming. Make sure that there's people that are cognizant of other people's space. Or even just having four walls where you don't have to share with people that are door slamming and that sort of thing. And just knowing that it's temporary. If it's somebody you're currently living with, then it's time for probably a more serious discussion or being acceptance of the fact that they're going to door slam. Or them being accepting of your need of the door not being slammed. Lots more opportunities are opening up this month. We've talked about strengthening of bonds, letting go of fears and sadness. But part of some of you have said, well, I have to let go of all that stuff before I can have a relationship like that. But they want to show you that the healing can actually happen within the relationship. So, and some of you are having people show up who really are going to support you in the way that you need that. You're going to be seeing that. And, yeah, it'll be about stretching the realms of what you think is possible. So some of you may see some things pop up this month where you're going, oh my God, I never thought that was possible to show up. And that's, you know, because of, if you've ever had a wish for it, that's definitely a sign that, you know, you've put that out to the universe, just even one time thinking about it. If it's a heartfelt wish, I've seen things manifest really quickly. I mean, if you're thinking about something for like seconds, there's like, I don't know, 72 seconds or something where you start manifesting. I can tell you, just with a single thought, you can manifest something. There were just a couple of times where I wanted something and it's boom, it's manifested within minutes. I just said it. There's a certain amount of power behind when I've said it without any wavering. But you can do the same. I feel like some of you have done some of this. You may not even realize it, but it's a certain part of personal power to be able to you know, garner that and to allow it in and, you know, and that sort of thing. But, you know, allow these relationships to come in and you can set the pace. But some of them are here to water you like the plant, you know, you're the rose and, you know, the buds can sit there pretty tight, but if it's not receiving water, the buds aren't going to move and blossom. So these people are coming in, supporting you, you're supporting them in a way that feels comfortable for both of you and it's more relaxed. And then these blooms can open and you bloom and you blossom and the people around you blossom and everybody feels good. That's what's starting to happen right now. It's fantastic. These foundations are coming in pretty quickly for right now. These are people that you may see. Some of them may come in and support you periodically. Some may be here for the long term. This is a very good year for like meeting partnerships of all kinds of people that are creating foundations for you. And they're either going to be part of that foundation and sticking around, or they're just people here to help you build the foundation or support your foundation. So they're stating be in acceptance, and being in acceptance and breathing will put you in the flow and create more balance in your life. So if you need more specific guidance on how to go about accepting, we could talk about that, but it's really as easy as a decision and just stating, okay. All right, I'll just accept that. It may not feel comfortable, but you can, you know, you have the ability to move out. So for some of you that have been thinking about moving, this is, yeah, you have the opportunity to actually move out of where you're living. If you're wanting something different, this is a good time for that. You may find like the roommates you're looking for. You may find the romantic partnership that you're looking for in terms of moving in. Some of you moving out of situations like that, and you may have recently just done that or doing that right now. The time this is being filmed is March 2nd, so I feel like it's kind of at the beginning of the month. The end of March is going to have some different closures, but in a good kind of way. So we have, like, we're beginning the month with ending stuff, which is creating, it feels like a big open door, and then also the same thing for at the end of the month, but it's in a slightly more subtle way in terms of yeah, they're talking to me a little bit about money and making money and things like that, and how it's relating will be at the end of the month in terms of closing a door more towards old ways of being. They want to talk more about that in the April update. They don't want you to worry too much about the end of the month. It isn't anything too extreme, or extreme at all for that matter. But so there's so stay tuned. I'm going to film the video right behind this. So I cut out and then I put a little transition, and because, you know, I film on my phone, so it's an interesting thing trying to film for all of this. But it is by sign. There'll be a little transition just after this, and then you'll see me come back. So I hope you've liked this month's energy update. After the cards, I've got some specials that you might want to pay attention to, so I'll be right back. So welcome to the cards portion. We are going by astrological sign, and it's funny because I hit record before I minimized a window, forgetting, because something that I like to do is keep track of which astrological sign is where. So yeah, so I just want to take a moment and let you know how much I appreciate those of you that are here and that watch and that are interested in knowing, like, which card it is that are with you, like which being of light is with you for the month. So this is the card deck that I'm using from Kyle Gray. Keepers of the Light deck. It's one of my favorite decks, and because it has a lot of the beings of light that I personally have been working with since I was a kid. And some of you work with as well and may not know it. So, okay, oh, that's right. They're asking, before cards start popping out, in general, who is it that we're pulling for? So I'm pulling for Pisces first. You guys tend to be, water signs tend to watch my stuff the most. And so, you know, for those of you, I think it's important for you to have your first cards come out. So for Pisces, you have, forgive me because this is a name I don't always say, but it's Cernonos. He's from the 13th ray of light, a ray that I don't have to talk about. This card's about life force. It says, express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. So some of you Pisces, oh, that's right, how appropriate too. So they're like, duh, here's part of the reason why it's coming up. Some of you are feeling really empowered. Your energy is more increased this month. They've been calling Pisces the month of miracles, miracle season, and it really has been, particularly if you have Pisces as your sun, your rising, and as your moon, but especially your rising and your sun. You're going to see, some of you have already been seeing things shift in a really beautiful way for you. So yeah, you've got more passion, you have more fire, and you have more energy. Now this age of miracles, or time of miracles, is for more than just particularly, yeah, okay, so another message, it's more than for just Pisces. This time of miracles is for pretty much everybody. So this also is a card about fertility and creativity. So if some of you have been trying to get a creative project off the ground, or some of you are going to notice that you have more creative energy. Some of you are going to notice quite a few interesting things that are coming up. This is going to be fun. If you're trying to get pregnant, this might be a time. So they're showing me the color green has to do with cash flow. So some of you are going to see this as a time that's fertile in more than one area for you. So, okay, so we're now on to Aries. So Aries, we're going to pull a card for you, for the being of light that is with you currently. Yeah, for Pisces too, if you've got some writing endeavors, if you've got Pisces in your, the top of your chart and you've been thinking about writing something, this is a good time to start writing. So Aries, your card is Serapis Bay, all about ascension. So it says, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. So for some of you that have been feeling like you've been struggling with your fears, particularly, you're going to start to see the light of day. You're going to see more sunshine. You happen to have, so there's a lot of symbology in here. You have a lot of angelic support here. The snakes tend to be about overcoming, or they're stating dominating fear. So, but there's, for some of you, your fears are coming to light, but you have angelic support and a lot of light around you. So there's quite a bit that could be said in here, but a lot of you are moving into your truer self by, coming more into the light. So, and some of you maybe, coming back on your, looking back on more of your, like, Egyptian connections. Some of you may have already felt connected to that. Some of you, it may even be feeling, I don't know, they're talking about Isis, or the woman that you're interested in is connected to Isis. It's an interesting thing. But Serapis Bay has these gorgeous blue eyes. Sometimes when the beings of light come through for people, I'll see their eyes first, like, be like this third eye kind of sight that I see, where the Ascended Master's eyes will be an overlay for the other person's. So that's who I know who's coming through sometimes. They have all kinds of ways that they'll let people know that they're coming through. But next is for Taurus. Messages for Taurus. Wow, yours is interesting. The card popped popped out onto the floor. So we have the Miriam, and this is Sacred Vision. So it's a really beautiful card. It's the only card that has two people in one. And so we have Callilles here, and it says, choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all. Remember that love has no boundaries. So you have the opportunity to work through forgiveness. They've got the Vesica Pisces here, opening of the heart going on. A lot of rose symbology in the back happening here. So I'll let you check that out. You can call in the Miriam. They're here helping you with forgiveness. They're showing me, for some of you, Tauruses have been dealing with anger. The acceptance piece will be a big part for letting the, for bringing forgiveness in and letting go of the anger, will be in a place of acceptance of what's happened. If some of you have Taurus in your chart and you're looking back, or you've been stubborn in a situation, or didn't trust or go with the flow, you've got real chances for heart opening here. For some of you, that's a Taurus rising that's happening. So now we're pulling for Gemini. Interesting, because if there's Geminis with Taurus in rising or moon, then that's something that would be absolutely true for some of those Geminis. Gemini, you have Kuan Yin around care and compassion. So for these folks, they really like the light green color. And it says, choose to be loved, do what is right for everyone involved, and offer a helping hand. For a lot of you Geminis, your relationships have been shifting quite a bit. So I feel like I may have talked to quite a bit of you for the March energy update, because your relationships were shifting a lot over the past 2.5 years. But now it's more in about how partnership is going to be benefiting you more. But more than anything, it's about having care and compassion for yourself and for others. You guys have really come into a time where there's a balance between the mind and the heart. So speaking more on the mind and the heart connection and balancing those out. For some of you that have been more, this is, pretty much for everybody that have felt, in terms of the balance theme, that have been, Geminis can get way up here, but it's more here. Embodiment happens more here. So for some of you, you're going to be coming more into the heart, having that heart opening so that you can make the connection between the head and the heart. So that's for specifically for Geminis that have Taurus energy in their chart. So, but yeah, there's part of that balance theme is having to do between the head and the heart. And some of you that are all heart and haven't been, you know, valuing logical thinking, there's going to be a balance of that as well, because it's not one over the other. If it was, the other wouldn't exist. So they're meant to be used in tandem, and there are ways to do healing with that. Cancer, you have Serapis Bay again, so you've got the same exact message as Aries. Some of you, they're showing me not just one snake, but the two snakes are pointing out. So it's just been like, it's been a lot for you guys emotionally coming up. So call on Serapis Bay, because a lot of you are ascending through your thoughts and transcending your emotions and using the flower of life here, letting go of control and the fear and things like this. So, you know, moving into your more true self, rising above the darkness and the light that is here. And they're also showing me this. For some of you, it's two people that you're like, you know, you're leaving these like, not just scorpion type stings, but like cobra type stings on, like bites on people. And for some of you, they're stating retreat. Just retreat. Instead of, if you feel yourself about to say something, because some people, you've got at least two people that see the light in you that are kind of a little bit fearful and standing back and saying, you know, I really enjoyed being around that person, but not so much right now. So if you feel like you're about to say something, take a step back and rise above the darkness and see the light in yourself and in others. I know this has been difficult, but there's a large part around how you're treating others and how you're snapping at others. And some of you have felt snapped at by others, but I can tell you, it's a little bit different from like a Scorpio who's emotional. A Scorpio has more control over their emotions. So if you've got somebody with Scorpio type energy around you, possibly talk to them about how you can, yeah, they're talking about just overcoming some of the fears and the lashing out, because people aren't intentionally doing things to bug you. Particularly if it's things where you're like, oh my God, I don't have control over this, particularly if it's in the house, let it go. So again, they go back to the door slamming. It's like if you're slamming doors, Cancer, you know, go easy. For Leo, we have a card that we're coming out for you now. We have Paul the Venetian. Guys, we have a lot of heart opening coming on. Paul the Venetian is from the third ray of light, which is pink, about Mother God and all about heart opening. He talks about experiencing grace. You're also surrounded by the green ray of light, which has to do with more healing. It says, share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming towards you. For those of you that that have Leo energy in your chart or are experiencing Leo type people, they're stating some of you have created something new, and you're going to be seeing more people being more loving. Some of you are Leos who are being more loving. Some of you are seeing Leos being more loving towards you. It's because they're going through a bit of a heart transformation. It's a little bit more gentle type of experiencing grace instead of some of the brashness you can see with Leo energy. So now we're getting into Virgo. These are beautiful Virgos. So the card just fell. You, it's interesting. You have Sanat Kumara, who's from Venus, and he specializes in doing all kinds of light code activations. So some of you may be feeling a little bit more activity up in the crown area recently. Now, when I talk about these cards, these being a light, come forward to be with you for the month, and you may feel it in the video. Some people see them coming from the left and they hang out right here and have something to say. So he's stating, shine your light, your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. They're helping you. For some of you that have been wanting more downloads and more light activations, they are here for you. If you don't have to do anything other than just know, oh, cool, yeah, I say yes to this. If you say yes to this, they're going to come in and provide some extra activations. And they're stating it's for anybody. It doesn't have to be just for Virgos. And they do shine their light quite brightly. They bring in, it's a way different energy from the other beings of light that you tend to work with. But there's at least one person that's been wanting to learn light language. They'll come in and bring in the light load, the light load. You doing laundry? Somebody doing laundry with the lights load? They'll bring in the downloads for being able to more consciously understand that language. We all understand it inherently, It's the one language that you can use that bypasses the, you know, any, you know, kind of protective mechanisms that we have. So for some of you that wish to work more in the arena of that, they're going to assist you with that. Particularly Virgos have been a little bit perfectionistic about that, and they're stating, we've got the details for you that you've been looking for. Oh goodness, so this is Libra. Libra, we have Freya. Freya is an interesting one. Her counterpart is Odin. Now, what they happen to notice here is, okay, so they're stating some of you around the full moon, because she's got the full moon, she's also got the raven with her, which is her totem animal. All of the rays of light and beings of light have birds associated with them, or some sort of animal, like Aetherius, dolphins and whales, and let me see, the ninth ray has the lion and the lioness. So, but this one in particular is stating around the full moon, around the first of the month, you guys have realized people that maybe had a face of, because when she pops up, or when the raven pops up, it tends to let you know that there's somebody who has had, they may have been a bit two-faced is the word that they're using. So somebody may have been a certain way and pretended to be collaborative, but in the background been really competitive. And you may have found that out towards sometime in February. So that person, by the full moon, has been found out, and the motivation's been found out. So it says phases and cycles, and there is a beginning within every ending, and illusions are revealed and released. So a lot of you have released a lot of that, and you've got some of those things have come to light and been eclipsed. They're stating eclipsed out. So for Libras, congratulations, there's been a lot of that. Libra's all about the scales and balance, so the next month is about bringing in, ushering in this new, beautiful new cycle that you've been looking for. And congratulations, because some of those people that had hidden motivations, it's really come to light. And some of you may be watching these people, not even in a vindictive way, it's just, they're talking about being observant, and Libras have the ability to take multiple perspectives, and people with Libra in their chart. So they're stating it's about seeing them in a different light, and watching them like exit, and then new people coming in, and it's kind of interesting, because you may know mutual people, and yeah, so it's interesting, because, you know, based on our thoughts, it's affecting who it is that we're around right now. So kudos to that. You don't have to worry about that person too much. They don't have the any power over you. Oh, so Scorpio, you also have Kuan Yin. So interesting that these cards are like popping out and flying across the floor, for those of you that like to see my hair flip around. So all right, so you have Kuan Yin, care and compassion, and choosing to be love, and what is right for everyone involved, and offering a helping hand. So this is a little bit softer energy for some of you, and some of you may be finding balance and wearing the color purple. She's typically associated with a light jade green. She's got a very sweet presence, and if you've been looking for this is really ironic. They're stating for some of you who have been looking to feel more compassionate, you will. For some of you that have been looking to receive more compassion, you will be. That's kind of it for Scorpio. It's because they're showing me how sometimes Scorpios can really like reach out and sting, but it's just sort of like, before getting to that place, there's a place of finding compassion, and they're just laughing a little bit about, they're kind of like, yeah, some of you have wanted to learn to be a little bit more compassionate. You'll be feeling that. So for Sagittarius, this is a color I always associate with you guys, because you tend to be a little bit more jolly. You have Hope. So she is the Archaea Hope. She is not from the yellow ray, although this card is about love and acceptance. Again, do you see how we're talking about love and acceptance? Do you see how there's a theme here around the heart quite a bit? It says, love is yours. Recognize your divine worth and choose loving thoughts. I mean, I don't make this stuff up here, folks. I know some of you Sages like to cut and run with your words, but I feel like there's a theme here where people are going to be communicating a little bit different because they're more accepting, a little bit more compassionate, coming more from the heart. So she is somebody who is with you. And again, they're pointing, she's with you and you can also call upon her. But do you see how the flower is blossoming? So some of you are experiencing more hope. Some of you are having more love and acceptance in your relationships that you're experiencing. And so you're blossoming as a result. Perfect. That's so cool. So we have Capricorn is next. Let's see your card. This is kind of fun to do the energy updates and then do cards right behind it. It makes it a little bit long, but yeah, we'll cut to the chase. You have Freya too, Capricorn. So same for you as with Libra. Some of you have been cut out of people's lives based on if you've not been very collaborative. For some of you, if you've just kind of laid down the law and said this is how it is, and then you've got some of you have Libras in your life that are like, I'm gonna cut out and I'm interested in more collaboration. So for some of you, they're stating, Capricorn, you guys are the ones where people have noticed some ulterior motives around, where you're like, well, you just have to get the job done, but that isn't necessarily been a collaborative thought. Or maybe you're feeling this about people that are around you and things that have come to light around the full moon. So phases and cycles, there is a beginning within every ending, and illusions are revealed and released. It's perfect because you guys are right around the end of the calendar year, so it's like when things get eclipsed out anyway. So for Aquarius, this is very fitting. Considering you guys are water signs, or air signs that are associated with water, but you've got Gaia. Do you see all that water around her in the background? It's perfect timing, right? It says Earth connection, and be mindful of the planet and come back to Earth and stay grounded. Some of you have gotten a little ungrounded because of your emotions, and there's things that you haven't felt super accepting of. And for some of you, I feel like that's something that you're going to be coming into alignment with, is becoming more accepting of your emotions and the fact that other people have emotions. Some of you have been a little bit sensitive with what's been going on with the collective energies and all of the emotions. They're mentioning that. But remember also, Mother Gaia has the ability to heal herself, and that includes you to be part of that. And remembering to come back for the earthly experience, because some of you have been a little bit out of body, or maybe you've been playing with groundedness a little bit. So let's see if there's one last card that'll come out for the group, or maybe they're stating a card for April. Let's see what's a preview for April. Do you have a card for April? Yeah, Kuan Yin, more compassion. So this is something I think we're going to see coming into April. We're going to see a much more compassionate collective. Oh, they're stating it'll be a much more compassionate response to things compared to like the blaming and the anger and the hatred. It'll be, because compassion is more of a unity type of emotion and response. So yeah, they're stating just take good care of yourself for those of you that relate to this card this month. And yeah, so I hope that's helpful. Oh, so specials, talking about specials really quickly, because that's something that I've been asked to kind of keep at the end by some of you, because, but however, I just wanted to mention some things. If you purchase a card reading, and it's one of the, there's several different options there, and the link is below. If you purchase a card reading, you'll be entered to win a one-on-one session with me. That is, it'll be announced on April 1st, so it's a quick card reading. The turnaround is usually within a day. Trying to see, I'm putting the cards away here. And yes, and then I also have a one-to-one special right now. You just email me for this, and the link is below. But there's a video that I did about healing through manifestation, and something that you can do as well is there's about 30 subconscious beliefs I have found that you can shift, and your entire abundance will shift for you. So for $1.99, I can do that work, with you, and then support you with a little bit of the Raise the Light for at least 2 weeks for that. So get in contact with me if you'd like to experience that one. And because that one's a fun one. There was a story that I talked about how my abundance came into being, and every time I've done this abundance work, you know, with these beliefs on myself, how that has affected my ability to receive money, which has been, you know, quite a bit, and I go through it because sometimes, usually it's permanent for most people. But sometimes if you experience like a creative wound or been overwhelmed by something, sometimes you can shift a belief back. It's all based on, you know, your experience. But if you'd like to experience more flow in the finance area or abundance area, that is something that I would love to work with you on. That's not on my website, so you'll have to email me for that. And let's see about this. Oh yeah, there's also the manifestation powwows if you guys want to work with me one-on-one for that. I'm trying to think because my notes here are not making a whole lot of sense. Let's see. Yeah, so there's, of course, the one-on-one sessions. There's 30 Days of Light. That's where your life will really transform. Part of why I do that is because there's just a one-off session that I can offer for certain things, but really the 30 days continuously will really change your life for any area, like emotionally, physically. It takes 28 days, really. They're stating to change a pattern. For some of you, it's 21, but 28 to 30, you'll see a real new pattern, like addictions leaving and new patterns coming in and new relationships coming into your life, feeling supported during that sort of thing. And then of course there's the sprays of light. If you guys haven't checked those out yet, those are amazing, a lot of fun. My other videos have those where the little sprays, and you spray your auric field with them for things like manifesting or feeling more balance in your life, or there's a custom bottle that I absolutely love because it brings the rays of light that you need at any given moment, and the, you know, it's source energy that is super intelligent, so it knows what your needs are. You don't even have to know, and you just spray it, and the beings of light step forward the moment that you spray the bottle. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you've enjoyed this month. Feel free to comment below if there's something that you know, that resonates with you. That would be nice to hear. So have a fabulous month. Lots of love. Bye.